religion really has influenced how we look at art. In the early days, people would go to a special place, a spectacular building called a church, and they would look at these special images, whether they be paintings or sculpture or relics, and they'd look at it with reverence, and they'd be quiet and thoughtful about what they were viewing. And it gave meaning to their lives. Today, a modern art gallery oftentimes has spectacular architecture, and then we go in and we see special work. It may not be sacred, religious, but we look at it with reverence and often with a very hushed voice. So in this way, we've been taught through the centuries how to look at art. Religion influenced art in another way. Because churches had a lot of money and they were able to put it into their architecture and art, and visually it was the only game in town, people were very much influenced by this visual component in their life. Today, religion influences art and architecture and the masses because people flood to European countries to look at their cathedrals and the art. And so we're still continually influenced by the work that was created centuries ago, which focused primarily on religion. Artists are also heavily influenced by it because we get it in art history. At North Idaho College, I received an education there in the arts, and one of the first things they do there in the class is go through the art from the earliest times. So you see a lot of religious art and architecture. So religion really has influenced my life as well. I was raised Catholic, and it's very difficult for me to tease out how I'm influenced by religion and how I'm influenced by my culture, my family, etc. But it's certainly intertwined with who I am and has influenced my work. I went to the monastery at St. Gertrude's and I studied iconography. And this education then led me to be invited to study in Italy with a master iconographer. And I started to ask, what is sacred in this modern world today? There's so much context and meaning in iconography. How can I incorporate much of that into the contemporary work that I do? And I started to ask, what is sacred in my life? I started looking at the basic elements of life: air, water, the environment. So these basic elements, especially when you don't have them, start to become very sacred and need to be honored and respected so that we can all have it for basic life. I love the concept of the land of milk and honey because Yahweh told Abraham, if you follow the laws, you will have basically plentiful of what you need. I don't believe we're following the laws of nature. And because of that, so many of our resources are becoming depleted. I take going to the tap and having clean water and plentiful of it for granted. And there are many people now, and more in the future, who will be unable to do that. I think about us being reverent and respectful to our resources, and in this way, making them sacred. So through my art, I hope to get people to think about the land of milk and honey and how they interact with it, how they use resources, how we all use resources, and being very thoughtful every time they turn on the tap or when they walk in nature, and be grateful that we have what we have. And I hope my work can encourage a conversation about that.